This is too much.
Let me sum up.
You're ridiculous.
Did you see my dance moves a second ago? I was like,
Look at that move. You like that move?
No,
With the stripes?
You look broken.
You look broken.
I am broken. I'm a broken
I'm a
man.
broken man.
All right, let's begin.
How come I'm cut out of the shot and Adam's not?
Warning, the Catholic Man Show contains high levels of manliness. It's simple, really. You either want to grow in virtue and holiness, or you want to be a sissy, whiny baby. If you choose to move forward, grab your whiskey glass, because the Catholic Man Show is starting right now.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting with David Niles in studio, Juan on the buttons. So we just completed our Christmas season, and there's a lot of Christmas traditions. One of our Christmas traditions in our family is my grandfather and grandmother. When my grandfather was alive, they would both sit in front of all of our family, and they would give this like inspirational Catholic like speech,
Really?
Yes, before we did presents, before anything else, before dinner, before anything, they would sit down. The whole family would sit.
When they were done, did you like charge out of the room?
You kind of felt,
Yeah.
You felt inspired.
Yeah.
It was very inspiring. They would sit down.
Let's go!
They would talk about the importance of, family, the importance of being together, the importance of prayer life, the importance of, husband and wife staying together. I mean, they would just like always just like, bam, right in your kisser,
Pow, right in the kisser.
Yeah. And my grandfather has passed away, but my grandmother has carried on this tradition.
Oh, nice.
And this last year, and let me tell you, my grandmother is probably the holiest person that I know.
Yeah, besides me.
No, bar none.
Just kidding.
She is the standard, the epitome of like Catholic grandmother.
Catholic to the max. Yeah,
to the max. And she starts off.
The Catholic card game was actually made about her.
About her.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the best.
Yeah.
And she starts off by saying that, the importance of forgiveness, the importance of husband and wife not going to bed angry at each other, the importance of we're starting a new year, that we should seek Christ's mercy and that we should make sure to repent of any sins that we have, and the importance of making sure to say sorry to your family and not going into the new year holding any grudges, being upset with anybody, offending anybody, starting the new year clean.
Nice.
And then she said, and this is like what caught me.
And then she said, I'm looking at you, Adam.
Yeah. No. Then she said, with that in mind, I am deeply sorry for anything that I've ever done to you that may have offended you, that may have inconvenienced you, that may have caused you scandal. Anything that I have done, I am incredibly sorry. And like, it just hit me hard because I thought she was preaching to me like to the family, like, guys, this is what you should be doing. But she led by example and said like, no, this is what we should be doing. And so I am so sorry.
So how come you're not recording the annual Minahan homily?
Well, apparently I need to start doing this. So in her footsteps, I would like to apologize to both Juan and Dave and anybody in this household, anybody listening right now, anything that I've ever offended or brought scandal or upset or did not do my due diligence of any kind. I apologize. We're going to start 2020, a holy year.
Sweet.
And a year of forgiveness.
Sweet.
And
it's going to
mercy.
be awesome.
So, but my grandmother just knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was just like there was very few dry eyes.
I was going to ask that, but I kind of figured the answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Sweet.
I say that.
It's a good Christmas tradition. We started one this year that I heard somewhere just about. It's real easy. Before you open presents, just read the nativity narrative.
Oh yeah, we do that
from Luke. It's like, man, it's obvious.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, you should definitely do.
Just as a quick reminder, before we just shred into these presents. Yeah. Remember, let's just throw Jesus a bone, or something. It's not a big
Right.
It's not like it's huge, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. So I say that also because I think that there's probably other people that are probably like me who may have been holding a grudge, may have been offended somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to them.
I doubt it. I don't think there's anybody out there.
Reach out to them
who's done that.
And start the new year with a clean slate of conscience.
Nice.
So
I like it.
But speaking of clean, our glasses are clean right now.
A little too clean.
This evening, I am so excited about this. So before we actually talk about the Dalmore Portwood, I've actually. So let's talk about the baby bottle really quick. I think we've talked about it on the show before, but it's worth revisiting.
Okay.
Dave, Juan, and I have a tradition. This is a tradition that...
Can you pour while you talk?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Yes. I can do more than one thing at a time. So Dave, Juan, this is a tradition that you guys could start as well. But Dave, Juan, and I started a tradition. Who began this tradition? Whose idea was this?
I don't know.
It was Juan's?
With the McAllen 12.
With the McAllen 12? Okay.
Juan started it.
Well, all good traditions are started by Juan, so I believe that. So what we do is we buy a bottle of scotch, and we buy a nice one. We buy one that we can't really afford by ourselves, but we all three go in together, and so that way we can buy a really nice bottle. Anytime that we have one of our wives have a child, we get together and we drink a bottle of scotch and we smoke a cigar. And what we do, Juan, if you'll go to my camera really quick, what we do is wherever we end the evening, we draw a line on the bottle and write the name of the child above it. So that way we know where, what we did, how much we drank, and for what child. And then we keep the bottles afterwards. It's kind of a cool keepsake. And so we were trying to figure out what baby bottle are we going to do? What whiskey are we going to have for this next round of babies that we're all having? And I kept throwing out there Dalmore. Dalmore's one of my... Both Balmore and Dalmore are some of my favorites. And Juan was over in Abu Dhabi, and he bought a bottle and epically did not come home with it. That's a story for another time.
Another time. Maybe never.
And so tonight, maybe never. Tonight, after our recording, we're going to go have a drink and a cigar.
Yeah.
Of Balmore.
Le Barrel de Baby.
18 year.
That's French that I made up.
Nice. You basically speak French.
I basically speak French.
But we were going back and forth between Balmore and Dalmore, and
let's just have both tonight.
And so I said, I kept thinking about it. I was like, no, I'm just gonna get Dalmore tonight. So we're gonna have both tonight. Dalmore is what we're having on the show.
Life is rough on the Catholic Man Show.
Dalmore is what we're gonna have as a baby bottle. So Dalmore, the Portwood finish or Portwood Reserve is what it's called. Do you want to? Let's cheers, and then I'll let you read the tasting.
Cheers.
One of the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers.
Okay, so on the aroma, this is according to the box. It says sweet red berries.
Well, hold on, because it's Richard Patterson, who's the master distiller of Dalmore.
Right. But this is just what the box says, and I'm sure this.
When you said according to the box, it kind of sounded condescending, and it's like, listen, Richard Dalmore is the nose.
Yeah. Sometimes though, if it's on the box, they're gonna try to spruce up their own tasting notes, because it's.
But he has a rep to keep.
They're marketing. It's marketing.
Sure, but he has a rep to keep.
Sure, but even him still,
right?
He's got to market it the right way. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but who could say that anyone's tasting notes are wrong in the first place?
It's very subjective,
But so we've got sweet red berries, Seville oranges.
This is the aroma?
Plummy fruits. This is all in the nose. And sticky toffee pudding. I don't prefer my toffee pudding sticky.
You definitely get the sweet berries, the plum.
Yeah.
But I also...
It is delicious, though.
Well, and you would imagine...
In the mouth, it's delicious. In the mouth.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. You would imagine being a port wood finish that it would have the berries, the plums, smell to it. So I think what it had originally, it was in
some of that plumminess,
ex-bourbon barrels, and then they finish it in the port wood.
Right. So then it says on the palate, nectarines, creamy caramel, roasted chestnuts, and Java coffee. The finish is sultanas. I don't know what that is. Sanjuanello blood oranges and macerated cherries. Whoa. There's some difficult things to pronounce here at the very end. I don't know if I said any of that right, but what's sultanas?
I smell chocolate in there.
I do too. I did too.
Haley actually picked up on the chocolate notes as well.
No. Adam.
Well, she...
Don't.
Okay, never mind. Disregard. Somebody who else drank this evening told me that they picked up on chocolate notes as well.
There are other people who may have done that.
Right.
I like it's got a nice finish. Nice, it's nice long finish. Mm-hmm. Good quality of a good Scotch.
Dalmore for a Highland Dalmore is probably my favorite Highland whiskey.
You know what? I forget it's a Highland because it's so complex.
It is. It's extremely complex.
And that's unfair. I know that's unfair of me to generalize Highlands that way.
Right.
As if they're not complex.
Because Macallans are pretty complex.
Yeah. I shouldn't say that. That's, you know what? There's my apology.
Right.
Is that I'm sorry for saying the thing I just said.
Good, Joe.
Thank you.
So there's a stag. So the stag is kind of the emblem on the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the bottle. Thank you. Juan is getting so good. Like I don't even have to tell him anymore. He's already there.
It's ridiculous.
So there was the tradition is that the family, there's a Mackenzie family who saved King Alexander the Third, and he saved him from a 12-point buck
that was going to kill him.
That was going to kill him.
Yeah.
And because of that, the king said, "You now can have this on your family crest." The family now then.
Nice.
Through the years.
Well, the king had probably been killing a lot of the Stag's family, so you can understand the resentment. Yeah.
And then when the family ended up owning the distillery, they used that stag as the emblem. So anyway, when we get back, we'll jump into the man gear. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Juan, what do you think? Can they hear it, Juan? I know we set it up last time where they can.
No, they cannot hear Juan.
Okay, Juan, what do you think?
I can set it up so they can hear Juan.
I'm okay with them.
Like
I'm okay with them hearing it as long as Juan, you realize that it's the like in between segments is good, in segments is not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't give you the 2 minutes warning.
You can give it the 2 minutes, just
but not on the mic.
Not on the mic. Okay. That way we don't.
Because sometimes if you're not seeing me, I say it on the mic.
Right. Well, just catch. I mean, just keep looking at us, and you'll catch our attention.
Say something.
Say something. I'm giving up on you. Oh, Juan even knew that song. He is becoming so commercialized, American commercialized. Oh, Mario says she can now hear Juan.
Capitalism is beautiful. Already?
That's what she says. I can hear Juan is what Margo says.
Is she picking me through your phone, through your mic?
She may be picking him up through our mics. I'm not sure.
Ask her if she can hear him different now. Now say something.
Can you hear me better, Marco?
Yeah, there's a delay, but that's okay.
Either way, they can definitely hear you now.
Yes.
I definitely, there's like very clear like second wave of flavor. Like
yeah.
It feels like it's gonna go away and then boom comes back.
I do get the cherries.
Comforting.
To me though, not on. Where do they say? I get that on the palate. Is that when they say it? No. See, I get. Well, maybe it's the nectarines, but I get kind of a cherry flavor right away when I.
Right away.
Yeah.
I get one at the very end. When at the very beginning for me is more of a sweet, almost like sweet and coffee and, hold on.
I just want to keep drinking it.
Sanguinello.
Moderately, in moderation.
Yeah, I will keep doing it in moderation. But if I'm being honest, My passion wants more.
Your appetite?
Yes, my appetite is desiring more.
Your irascible appetites are wanting more. But that's
Correct.
why we're going on Exodus 90 to
Yeah.
curb those irascible appetites.
To beat them into submission.
I can't wait.
I did pray to get the civil oranges, though.
I will not come out of the cold water until you have been submissioned.
Actually,
Short.
Yeah.
Obedience. Obedience, bro.
And if you read the thing, it says, resist one. There's pride is one of the temptations, and I forget the other one. But it said, resist the temptation to do more than these. Because it's not about like,
right.
because then it's like, oh, I did it.
Right.
Look
how good I
so
am.
strong.
That's why I thought about, we've had, on our show before, we've asked if it would be appropriate to ask for a stronger or harder penance in confession.
Uh-huh.
And I've gone back and forth on struggling with that. Like, no.
No, it's fine. It's fine to do that.
I know.
Because you're still not choosing it.
Yeah, because they could say no, I guess.
Now, what you shouldn't do is, can I have a stronger penance? Okay, yes, here it is. Can I have a still stronger one? You know, like,
right.
I don't know. I guess maybe if the priest gave you a weak sauce, strong penance, you could be like, come on, Father, I'm a man.
Or just apply your own penances to yourself.
Yeah, you can do that.
Just be a man and live
that's true.
an asceticism type of life.
True, bro. Bro, that is true. You can just do penance all by yourself.
Yeah, you don't need a priest to tell you. Do penance.
Wow. That has never occurred to anyone in the context of that conversation. Because they were always like, no, I need the priest to give it to me. When I say anyone, I mean me.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
El Button Master. There's a new hat for you, Juan. El Button Master.
Yeah.
I like producer better. Thank you very much.
You're not even wearing your producer hat.
It's not even Spanish.
Yeah.
And it's not even Spanish.
Not even
I
Spanish.
can do Don Producer.
Yeah, but Button... Did we say pusher or master?
Master.
Let's go with pusher.
Can I have a harder penance? We'll go with pusher.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan, Juan Posada in the house. We're talking about me today on the Catholic Man Show because they call me the Godfather.
This isn't a segment.
That's our topic, though, for today.
Okay.
That's just a sneak peek.
Oh, okay.
I'm just previewing.
You're making an offer they can't refuse.
I'm previewing it for everybody.
Gosh, I was hoping we wouldn't.
Plus, we have to talk about that before we talk about the man gear. Right. We're also getting ready to do Exodus 90. It starts in the morning. Yes. We're recording this on Sunday. It starts the next day. If you're on the podcast, we're already like we're a couple cold showers in by now.
And we're trying to figure out what we're going to talk about next week.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
By the time you're listening.
I'm just wondering, like, physically, if I will survive a cold shower. I don't know, like, will I die? Sometimes
you'll be all right.
So I'll tell you, I turned it cold the other day. I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
So in an act of self-preservation, I turned it back hot.
Yeah. Well, so there's a couple things that we've decided with Exodus 90. We said that we would make an exception for drinking on the show.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to bore everybody.
We'll do a couple weeks with no drinks. I mean, we can do that.
Sure.
We can have water one day or
we have
something.
Espresso.
Yeah.
Now that I have espresso machine.
It says though black coffee.
Espresso's black coffee.
Is it? That counts as black coffee?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just concentrated.
Concentrated coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. So.
What was that? What am I thinking of? I'm thinking of
a latte.
Yeah.
That adds
a latte.
milk.
Yeah.
But it says
milk. You can have milk too.
Yeah. So you're good. We can have lattes.
Well, you can separate them. Why not put them together?
Yeah. Might as well.
It also doesn't say anything about baths. It says cold showers, but it doesn't say after you take your cold shower, you can't take a nice hot bath.
Hey, have you ever gone back and listened to some of like our really old episodes and listened to like, wow, that was what was going on in our life at that time?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so I'm saying this only for
part of your penance.
No, only for future because I want to make sure I remember this.
Yeah.
Because this was something hilarious that Jude did. that I have to remember this.
Okay.
So this has been a really rough week in the Minahan house.
Yeah.
Don't know if you know this. You do know this,
I
actually.
know.
Juan, you may not. I don't know. But Anna Faustina is we're in the midst of potty training, which has been messy. And Jude got sick this weekend.
Not related.
Actually, no, not related, but they got sick. So Jude has been throwing up, and he screams right before he throws up, like all little kids do, right? I think.
I guess I don't know.
I mean, they don't know what's happening. They know something's happening.
Okay.
And so anyway, so he throws up. He screams. He throws up. My wife is in there with him. As they're walking back out, he's all sick, and he sits down on the couch. My wife is like, trying to get everything cleaned up. Haley walks back into the living room, and Luke is sitting there in the living room with him.
Mm-hmm.
Anna's in there as well, and Jude goes "Bleh!" like that and made this sound, the throwing up sound. And my wife comes running in, and Jude starts cracking up and goes, "I made her think that I was throwing up," and he was not. He was like, so even when he was sick, he was trying to play a prank.
Gotcha, Mom.
Yeah, trying to play a prank on Mom.
Sucker.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man.
So easy.
Yeah, and I thought, man, if he did that to me, oh man, I'd be so mad. But Haley took it.
But because it was to your mom.
Haley took it very gracefully.
Pretty funny.
She was.
Were you there when it happened, or did you hear about it later?
Haley told me about
Yeah.
it. And so anyway, it was just so funny to hear that story of like, even when he was super, super sick, he thought
You should journal about
this
it, bro.
would be a good. I should add that to my journal.
Put it in the journal.
This would be a fun prank on my mom.
Okay, so our man gear today is, what do you call it? Firewood sling?
Firewood carrier.
Carrier?
That's what I would call it.
Okay, nice.
My wife got me one for my birthday, and I think it was my birthday. Anyway, she got me one for an occasion.
Yeah.
And when I first got it, I was almost a little offended because, like, listen, I don't need a purse to carry my firewood.
Right.
I will just put this
Have you
on
seen
my bicep.
Have you seen these guns,
yeah,
babe?
and just hold the wood in my arms.
That's what I always do.
And so I thought, like, hold on a minute.
Yeah, and I try not to crush it, in the vice that is my biceps. I'm just trying to make sure I bring logs inside and not sawdust. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah, and so, but I was like, Haley bought it for me. I'll start trying to use it. See if I like it. Turns out it's way better than
You can carry a lot more firewood.
carry a lot more firewood.
And your coat's not covered in like little wood. You
don't have
dirt.
a trail of wood or dust coming in.
Doesn't do that thing where one of them starts to get off balance, and then two logs that like go in different directions. You know what I'm saying? And you can't.
Right.
Yeah, I hate that.
So
the sling, the carrier.
She did a phenomenal job getting. It's very hard to get a present for somebody who doesn't even know that they want it.
Right.
That is a tough.
Sort of like inventing the iPad. Like how do you create something everybody wants but nobody knows
that they want it.
Right.
Again, just a testament to Haley's feminine genius.
Yeah, totally. So we have something like this in our cabin in Michigan. We use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It really is very, very nice. You just go out, and you got me one for Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, which
I
liked
liked it. I liked it so much that I was like, well, I guess I got to get Dave one for Christmas.
Yeah, and when I got it, I was like, of course, we use this in Michigan all the time. Why wouldn't I think to have one
at your house?
At my house, where I burn firewood all the time.
Right. And
a lot more.
It's different for like it's different between that and a wheelbarrow, because like a wheelbarrow, you're carrying it outside.
Yeah, my mom Pamela gets mad when I bring the wheelbarrow inside.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the sling. The carrier is for
even though the kids love it,
bringing the wood inside the house.
Yeah.
So I have a different wood carrier than you. So why don't you describe your wood carrier?
Well, mine is just like a sling. It's a big leather sling.
It's is it leather or canvas?
It's leather. It's leather.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's real thick leather. So it's very nice with handles on. So you just put the wood in the sling, and you just you bring in enough that the handles will come back around on so you can carry it, and it's good. You can definitely carry more that way than in your arm.
Right. And the one I have, it's not an actual like sling. it's almost like just a box with handles on it. So it has 4 walls as opposed to just the 2, like one sling.
Right. So you could, if you had like smaller like kindling or something, you could put it in there and it wouldn't fall out.
So the advantage of that, I think, would be that it's a lot less messy because it's all contained inside the 4 walls. Your sling, if you accidentally drop one side of it or something, it could all the bark or whatever could get messy. Sure. But I have the box, and what I actually do is there's the stand that has all your poker and your shovel and your brush and all all your firewood kit accessories, and it has a little arc on there for you to stack your wood. And what I actually do is I just carry that and put the carrier in right there.
Yeah. So in Michigan, the one we have, there's like a V-shaped metal thing we keep by the...
A V-shaped metal thing.
It's a V. It's like this. And the handles slide over the points of the V so that it just sits there and holds the wood like that, which is kind of nice too. It's kind of the same thing as what you've got.
I found that when the weather gets cold, so there's this Venn diagram when the weather gets cold, and one circle is people who say, "Oh, I hate the cold. I'm ready for the summer." Yeah. And the other Venn diagram is, "I can't wait to snuggle up by next to a fire and drink a whiskey."
Yeah.
And then there's an intersection of kind of
the overlap
of both of people, and then there's like not on this map is like California, who doesn't get bad weather, and we don't. Those people they just don't have bad weather.
Yeah, that's why they're weak.
That's why they definitely need Exodus 90.
Yeah, big time.
But so with the weather getting cold, the weather here in Oklahoma has been crazy this weekend. It was snow, tornado warning, 60 degrees on Monday. It's been wild.
Yeah.
But
even though tornadoes, like, nothing ever really happens. Tornadoes are not people who don't live in Oklahoma, they think tornadoes are like this ominous, crazy, like, we're all gonna die. But like, they're not that bad. There's
a lot of warnings and watches
and it's like most of the time they don't touch down, and it's not like a hurricane where like everybody is gonna get destroyed.
Right.
But how does this man gear relate to the topic?
Well,
we're talking about godparents today.
We're going to talk about godparents. And before the episode, I was kind of trying to connect the dots, and then you brought something up that was even better. So I'll let you take it.
So it's for carrying wood,
right?
And it reminded me of Isaac carrying the wood up the mountain for the sacrifice. In that way, he prefigured Christ. He didn't actually know that he was, going to be the sacrifice on his way up there. But
Dad.
But we're all called to carry our cross, and godparents are like this, where when you're using a firewood carrier, who's carrying the wood, you or the firewood carrier? Well, you are. You're carrying the wood, but the firewood carrier is helping you to do it better, more easily, more efficiently.
Yeah.
Right. In a way that, now you're not burdened as much by the cross that you're carrying. And so in some ways, the firewood carrier is like a godparent when a godparent is done well.
Which we'll talk about.
That they could help you learn the ways of the faith so that your cross is not so much a burden as it is a sanctification.
Yes. Boom.
Boom. Roasted.
I don't know if that was roasted, but...
Somebody is.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Isaac wasn't.
No, not Isaac, but that ram.
That ram did not...
Wrong place at the wrong time, buddy.
Got caught in that thicket.
Yep.
Gotta watch out for those.
Your mom told you not to go in the thicket. Your ram mother told you. You didn't listen.
We'll talk about godparents when we get back. We'll be right back.
Do you know Erin Brown?
I do. She's my cousin.
Yeah. I'm glad you said yes, because she's listening. And if you said no, would have been funny.
Yes.
For me. Not for you.
Not for me.
No.
But I would not have done that. She's my cousin.
Of course. Shall we keep going? Anything?
Juan, is there anything that we should focus on or draw our attention to? Thank you for throwing out Isaac. Way to go, Juan. Man, you're on point tonight.
Reminding us about things and stuff.
Remember, I told you, don't forget to do it, and I knew I was going to have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
of course.
But that's why we pay you the big bucks, Juan.
I should get like a chalkboard, a mini chalkboard.
We have at one point we had a dry
marker
erase
board.
at one point in time we had a dry erase board.
Yeah, we're going to bring
Dry
it.
erase board because quiet.
Yeah, chalkboards are.
I can just...
Yeah, you can chalkboard. You can hear like.
I hate that sound.
When you're going through your 8th rabbit hole, I'm going to be like...
It's never. That doesn't really bother. I don't think there are sounds that bother me. There's no sound you can play that, unless it's loud and hurting my ears. Like.
And the chalk.
It's not like a
Chalk on the chalkboard is
fingernails in the chalkboard.
no, just like
even just the chalk.
Yeah, I had a really big issue with that growing up. That and then growing up,
It's just a sound. It's just
touch,
sound.
Velvet, like really messed. Like I could not handle
Really?
Velvet.
Yeah.
To the touch.
So I just found out there are some people who are afraid of tiny holes. There's like this fear of like, it's like a pattern thing. If you see a bunch of tiny holes, all right, it freaks like they're literally afraid of it. Just seeing it, like a picture of a bunch of tiny holes.
So I just want to bring up this comment that Margot made
Okay.
about Exodus 90.
Okay.
She says, your penance on Easter is to sort through all the notifications from Margot during this past 90 days. Yep, very fitting.
I'll give that to you, Dave.
Done. I've already done it.
Let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see all of her notifications already. I've already sorted them all.
Margot says that we should go
Mentally.
a chalkboard like Fulton Sheen. And I just want to point out that I'm wearing my Fulton Sheen socks.
Ooh, Fulton Sheen socks. Nice.
I also got some for Christmas.
You did Fulton Sheen socks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sacrilegious man.
Yeah. I
There's
like
man
them.
gear. Sacrilegious socks.
Yeah.
Like, how else could your socks be a relic? Not a relic, but
Can't
a
be
sacramental.
unless you're wearing like JP2 socks.
His
Actual
actual
not,
socks.
Yeah, not sacrilegious socks.
Do you think?
Or you can touch
What do you
his
think?
socks to a first degree relic, and you can have a
Make it
second
a
degree.
What do you
relic.
think they did with all of his socks?
It's probably in the Vatican somewhere.
Do you think though they threw away like most of his
No.
socks?
No.
No.
He probably got turned to like relics. Just
No, they knew this was like,
Yeah, but
I don't know. Listen,
if anybody knows what they did with his socks, I want to know
I'd like to wear
what
them.
they did with his socks.
What size shoe was he?
I mean,
Right,
they're not
ready?
going to keep all his they're not going to keep his underwear. You know what I'm saying?
You think though, like
there's
he
going to be
even
some
had a lot of
stuff.
socks?
I don't know, but
I
there's
doubt
going
it.
to be some stuff they don't keep. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
socks could be one of those things they don't keep.
Okay.
I mean, unless he was like Padre Pio with the stigmata, you know, and he's bleeding all over his socks.
Right.
I don't know, but I'd like to.
One.
here we go.
Yes. Very good. Welcome back. I want to give a shout out to Juan being on point this evening. Getting back into the groove.
Totally dominating the buttons, even though he doesn't even push the buttons. We always talk about the buttons. I have all these beautiful buttons programmed for him. He doesn't even use them.
He likes the manual.
He does the mouse. He uses mouse clicks. He's really a clicker more than a button pusher.
Yeah. We're drinking a little bit of the Dalmore Portwood Reserve.
Yeah. And just in case you're just listening to us on the podcast and not watching us on Facebook, you should really check us out on Facebook. You get to hear quality stuff.
In between segments.
Like, what did they do with John Paul II's socks? What did they do with them?
Or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel because I just upload
Yeah, it's straight.
the
It's the
raw
same thing,
video.
yeah.
So you can do that.
So
Also, what you
check us out.
Also, what you could do is you could support the Catholic Man Show on Patreon, patreon.com/the Catholic Man Show. Dave, one of the things that we're doing this year is we're giving a 10-part series with our wives for the Patreon. We're actually doing it for the diocese, but we're adding it to our Patreon as a extra bonus. And the first one's coming out this week.
Yeah, I got mine in the mail yesterday.
Yeah, I did too. And then also what we're doing is we're going to be recording some of the encyclicals, homilies, things like from that the church has given us from a long time ago that people don't know about or haven't thought about.
Right.
And you can listen to that. So support us on the Catholic Man Show. The only way we can continue going is by your support. And 100% of your donations go back to the show. One of the things you get by supporting is you get into this Facebook group. And we talk about all different kinds of things. One of the things we talked about recently is Rafi, who we met at the camp out.
The camp out, yep.
Asked a very important question, which kind of led to this topic this evening on Godparents. He was asking why, like, who should you look for in a godparent? Like, what should you be looking for? Who should you be thinking about as a godparent? What's the purpose of them? And so he asked all these questions. We had a great discussion. Father Brian O'Brien, shout out to our good friend Father Brian O'Brien, chimed in. He gave a great response, I thought.
Yeah, it's nice to have priests on the council who can weigh in.
Father Donovan's on there as well.
Yeah, because every now and then a question will come up, and it's like,
Father Ketterer.
I could give an answer. I could give
Father Sean O'Brien.
What I think the answer is, but it'd be nice if
Father Kelly Edwards is on
priest.
There. Yeah. Really great, really great priest. So anyway,
yeah.
So
and more. There's more.
And one of the things that a benefit of doing the show, Dave, is that, and we've talked about this before,
is the alcohol.
And being able to receive free stuff.
Yeah,
that's
free
really
stuff,
the reason why we do the show is we want free stuff.
Yeah.
But another benefit is that it forces us to dive deeper into our faith and reevaluate how we're living our life as a Catholic.
Yeah, because if you're going to talk about something on air, you have to kind of like learn about it first.
And know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And as I was learning a little bit more about the history of godparents, and I started thinking like, man, I'm not doing the best job I could as a godparent. So it kind of reinvigorated me, especially like as we're going through Exodus 90 soon, to remind myself to be a better godparent and to offer up some of these sacrifices for my godchildren. But so I think the best thing to do is maybe we start with the history of godparents.
Okay.
Let's
Good
start
idea.
there.
Let's start at the beginning.
The beginning is a good place to start.
Good place to start.
So originally, the history of godparents, it had a twofold aspect to it. And remember that at this point in time, in early Christianity, it wasn't legal to be a Christian, and so there was a lot of persecution in the church.
Yeah.
You had to kind of at times be hush-hush about being a Christian. So the twofold aspect of being a godparent was basically a catechist to make sure that the person who was coming into the faith learned the faith and understood like what the faith was all about.
Yeah.
And then also in the second fold was like making sure that like vouching for this person, saying like
that they're not a spy.
That they're not basically like, because
that was happening. People were joining the church just to rat people out to the Romans, and then they'd come kill everybody.
And there was like a constant tendency of like pagan traits or pagan traditions seeping into the Christian faith.
Yeah. Is this guy serious about joining, or does he just want to do it as like a social club, but really he's got no interest in practicing, that kind of thing? Right.
So I mean, the godparents were like the spiritual guides of the children of the parents from that time period.
And those things still exist in the RCIA program, which is soon to be changed to the RCIO program, or OCIA, not RCIA. It's the Order of Christian Initiation instead of Rite of Christianity. But yeah, so we still have those things. We're less worried about getting ratted out to the Romans today. But that tradition is still stuck around. So what we think of as RCIA sponsors is the original form of godparents. Is that what you're saying?
There's a lot of overlap there.
Yeah,
sure. And so, but around like 800 AD, when infant baptism kind of became predominant.
So infant baptism didn't start till then, because in the Bible there's
I mean,
you hear about how entire households join the faith, so you can assume that there might be little children involved.
Sure, absolutely, there are.
But it wasn't necessarily the practice. Your baby's born, you baptize them.
They also had the understanding, that baptism wiped away all your sins,
Right. Some people waited until their deathbed.
Right, and so
which is a bold move, really.
It's really so. Anyway, as the church, in her wisdom said,
not everybody has a deathbed.
Right.
Some people have a death field, or a death toilet, or something. Sometimes you just die.
Elvis, yeah. That's why it's good to pray for a holy death to Saint Joseph.
Yeah.
Ask Saint Joseph for a holy death.
Long-term illness is the way to go. You can long-term illness. I think about this. You can prepare for your death. What a blessing to be able to you're gonna die. You're gonna die in the next week. You can get ready. I mean, there's suffering involved, but I mean, you're about to die.
Right. So, around 800, whenever infant baptism kind of was predominant, the tradition.
Yeah.
Godparents became more of what they are like today, where they're supposed to be helping the parent raise the kid in a spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
And helping them teach the faith.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's kind of where the history of the godparent came, because back then, both life expectancy was very short. It was much shorter.
Yeah.
And so if your parents died all of a sudden and you're a Christian, you want to have your kids who may not know the faith be raised under the wing of somebody else who knows the faith as well.
Yeah.
And so that's why they made sure they have a godparent.
Tutelage was much more common in general back then. Education or whatever.
Right. So the church, in her wisdom, has given us guidelines of how to pick and the requirements of what a godparent is.
Okay.
Which I was just reading the Code of Canon Law.
Yeah, just in Latin
on a Wednesday.
Right, just for
I was
fun.
Thinking man, this would be a great thing to do as I'm sipping this Burgundy and having a fire and having classical music play,
eating raw tuna.
Yeah, definitely read the Code of Canon Law.
Yeah, in Latin.
And then So anyway, there's a couple different things that the requirements of godparents, which we can talk about also on the other side of the break. But one of they must be at least 16 years of age.
Okay.
They must be a baptized Catholic who has completed the sacraments of the Eucharist and confirmation.
Okay.
So they must have confirmation.
So full initiation.
Full initiation into the church.
Because baptism, Eucharist, confirmation, full initiation.
Right. They may not be the parent of the child being baptized, so you cannot be your own godparent to your kid, because that would kind of defeat the whole purpose anyway.
Yeah.
And one of the beautiful things about godparents, I think, is that it reinstitutes the idea that we are made for community. It almost that it
takes a village.
It takes,
we need to depend on each other.
I need other people to help me raise even my kids.
Yeah, there's a humility that says, even though I'm going to do my best, it might not be enough in order to do this job well.
I need other people.
Or that you might not that you might not, you just aren't.
Right. So I when I was reading through this, I thought, man, that's a good point. Is that it's really focusing on making sure that, listen, we're made for being in communion with other people. We're not made to do this solo.
Right.
This isn't a solo journey.
Right. Yeah. I mean, otherwise we would have asexual reproduction. And the marriage itself is a community.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing, and by the way, I didn't say this at the beginning, but this is Canon 874. If you want to go read that on a Wednesday. If married, they must be married in the Catholic Church regularly.
So if you're gonna have spouses.
Yeah. So
there can be no scandal, because otherwise it's scandal. They're living in a state of scandal.
Right. And so actually, you only need one godparent.
Right.
You don't need two. You don't have to have two. For it to be
valid. So I see. So it's not that if you're picking married a couple, but if the one person you're picking is married.
No. I'm just saying, you just have to have.
But
one.
I was misunderstanding that at first. I was thinking if you're picking a husband and wife, they have to be married in the Catholic Church. But what you mean is, if you're picking a man and that man is married and he's Catholic, he has to be married in the Catholic Church.
Correct. But
wait.
But you don't need.
Yes.
But you don't need to have a godmother.
Right. You can have a godmother, right?
Well, you can have a godmother
and no godfather.
or a
You
godfather.
just need one godparent.
You need one
Yeah, yeah.
godparent.
But if they're married, they have to have a valid sacramental marriage.
Right. So they must be regularly attending Mass on Sunday, going to confession, and living the faith, not living in sin. The two godparents do not have to be married to one another.
So they must be like they have to be at least bare minimum Catholics.
Yeah, absolutely. They have to be practicing Catholics.
Yeah.
And the baptized non-Catholic may be a godparent, but may serve as a witness along with the Catholic godparent. So that's something that I want to talk about because it's like a Catholic witness.
Yeah.
Because that's a question that comes up a lot. It's like, what if I want a godparent who
Yeah.
is not Catholic to be my
Yeah.
my child's godparent?
Okay.
So we'll talk about that on the other side. I'll let you close it out.
Good. We'll be right back.
Oh, Ralphie joined. While you were talking about him.
He did?
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Let's just keep going. Let's
Yeah,
keep going.
Let's keep it rolling.
Last segment.
Man, there's
Got a lot to do. A lot to do.
Yeah.
don't distract me.
I'm not distracting anybody.
You always
You
distract
did.
everybody.
distract myself sometimes. But
You went into the death too much.
that was true though.
That was
yeah, but
actually
it was distracting.
It was a good point.
it was a good point.
Yeah.
But it was distracting.
But it was distracting.
Yeah.
But it was a good point.
Yeah. Thank you. I had to get rid of all the mirrors in my house. It's just
It's
too
so
distracting.
distracting.
Yeah. Am I right?
I'm glad I didn't record it before that. All right, here we go.
I'm embarrassed.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. This is David Niles here with Adam Minahan and Juan Posada. We're talking about godparents today. We got a lot to get through here because there's some big stuff. We're talking about godparents. One of them has to be Catholic. You can have a non-Catholic witness
Right, so the church,
as like a fake godparent if you want.
not a fake godparent.
You're a fake godparent. You're not a godparent. You're a Catholic. You're a Christian witness.
Christian
You're not a
witness.
godparent.
So if there's somebody in your life
fake
that
godparent.
may be they have to be a baptized Christian
Yeah.
who is living virtuously, who is a part of your life on a regular basis,
Yeah.
who you think could help build Christian virtue in your child, you could have them be a Christian witness.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's a terrible idea. I just think that's a ridiculous, why are you doing that?
Well, what if they don't have a good Catholic friend?
Well, don't pick this other person. Just only have one. If you
what
have
if they don't? They have to.
you don't give this other there's no reason to do this. It just makes me mad because selecting a godparent is not a popularity contest. It's not like, oh, they picked us, so now we need to pick them. As if let's just trade our kids it's like we're like dealing in godparents here or something. You should be picking the godparents who you think are the holiest people that you know, who you're friends with. Don't just pick, Scott and Kimberly Hahn as your god. You don't know them.
I do, but I'm just
but anyway,
I'm just dropping
pick
Catholic names.
someone who is in your community, who's in your life,
Right.
who you say, this is the holiest person I know.
That's going to be a part of my life.
Yeah, it could be your parish priest. If you're have a good relationship with your priest, it could be him.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's not.
Most
of the time it's not.
They
But
decline.
it's like who's the holiest person you know? Make them the godparents.
Right.
It doesn't have to always be the same person, but it's not a popularity contest. And to me, if you're picking someone who's not Catholic to be to be there, even though they might be your best friend, I'm not saying that they're not important to you, but they're not Catholic.
Right.
And that's what we're talking about
that's
here.
the importance
That
of-
is what this
of
is.
a godparent.
It's not a popularity contest. They might be very, very good people.
Right. Our good friend
that's-
Thomas Lackey, you were telling me before the show
Yeah,
started.
all their kids have the same godparents because, to them, there's this other family that's very important in their lives, and they're a very good, devout Catholic family. So like, they are the godparents of all their children.
Right.
And that, to me, that makes sense.
Right.
I get why you do that.
So a non-baptized person cannot be a godparent. Also, if for some reason, like let's say, little Johnny, you have godparents for little Johnny, and the godparents at the time were really good Catholics, and maybe they fell away from the church.
Yeah.
You cannot have new godparents.
No.
It's not like you can say, "Oh, I want to redo."
Yeah. Mine got divorced.
Yeah. You can't do that.
Bummer.
Yeah. So, but you have to make sure that they're an active practicing Catholic, meaning they're following all the precepts of the church, which you can go to Catechism 2041 and following for all the like. Here's the guidelines of being a active Catholic.
That's what you're looking for. Pick those people.
Pick those kind of people.
Someone because the job of the godparent, bare minimum, is to pray for them every day. You should be, if you're a godparent, you need to be praying for your kids, your godchildren every day.
This is a perfect segue. So I think we should talk really quick about if you're a godparent, how to be a good godparent to your godchildren. I came up with 5 really quick, and I want to get your thoughts on them.
Okay.
First is like enroll them in a perpetual mass.
Boom.
I think that's a phenomenal
I
thing.
have not done that, but I need to.
I have not either, but I'm going to. It like hit me. I was like, I should do that. And a lot of religious organizations will, if you donate to them, they'll ask you like, do you have an intention that we can offer up?
Yeah.
In
salvation of my godchildren.
Right, and that would be a perfect thing.
And actual children.
Obviously. But so enroll them in a perpetual mass. It doesn't cost it doesn't cost very much most of the time.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful way of
also, if you don't know what
opening the door to grace.
If you don't know what a perpetual mass is, Google it.
Right.
Blow your mind.
Another one is just be present, be intentional. Like attend as many family activities as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Juan does a phenomenal job of this. He takes his God parenting role very, very seriously.
Yeah, you're probably the best godparent I know, Juan.
Yeah, I agree. But just being present. Even if you have a family that maybe you're the only Catholic in your family, to invite your godparent, your child's godparent to the event.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is they should be someone in your life. It shouldn't be, and like pick someone who you think is going to be around. That's the other thing, is that you might know somebody, but if they are in the military or like have a job where they might get relocated, maybe they're not the best candidate. That's up to you to decide. But if they leave and are across the country,
it's tough.
It's tough because their job is a spiritual one, but it's also a real one, like where they should be there, and they should. A child should know their godparents. And
let's say that maybe you did move for an unforeseen reason.
That's going to happen. There's no, you can't.
Right. So I think that what you need to do is make sure you birthday cards, graduation cards.
Right. Yeah.
Sending out.
Amazon has free delivery if you're a Prime member. Okay. You can have something sent to their address.
Right. But you just want to be present in their lives. I'm trying my best to stay in the habit of writing down on Sundays, like writing letters to people. Like,
oh man, that's a good idea.
I'm still doing that. I'm not doing it every Sunday. But anyway, just write a letter to them.
Word.
Be active. Another one is offer a holy hour, or like Exodus 90. The men who are starting Exodus 90, like offer
your cold showers for them or something.
Yeah. Offer up something. And then the 5th one that Juan does, that I was like, man, I don't do this at all, and I'm a bad godparent apparently, but is take them out on one-on-one dates.
Yeah.
Be active.
Once they get old enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Go take them out. Go do stuff. Let them see you as a like this. Dave is a good role model for
the children need reinforcement. When they just hear things from mom and dad, it's one thing. But when we all get our kids together to pray, and the kids see everybody doing the sign of the cross and praying before meals, all of a sudden it's reinforced. It's like, oh, this is what we've been learning, and now all of a sudden, boom, it's like solidified.
Right.
So when they see other people doing the same thing that they've been learning at home, it
only reinforces what you've been trying to do in the domestic church for as long as they've grown up.
So maybe we'll save my question about can godparents bless their godchildren for segment 5.
Okay.
Which will be on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Well, do you have any other ways of being a good godparent? Have you thought
so I pray for all my godchildren by name every day.
How many do you have?
5.
You have 5?
Mm-hmm.
I have 6.
Do you?
Yes.
Nice. I didn't know you had more than me. When did you get more than me?
I'm a lot holier
I thought
than you.
I was totally winning this contest.
No, I'm holier.
I'm winning.
Well, Juan has
Juan
like
has, like-
15 or something. Oh, you have 10?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
That is
but
crazy.
That's what happens when you buy people a huge. When I
Yeah,
asked
you
him,
haven't even bought me my whiskey yet, Juan.
when I
by
asked
the way.
him to be the godparent of one of my children, I got the biggest bottle of whiskey I'd ever seen.
He hasn't even he's one of my.
He got lost in the airport.
He got lost in the
I
airport.
got you a telescared dark horse.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh man, that's really sad. Dang it, TSA! Talk about perks of a job right there. You
Right.
probably get free stuff like every day.
But I think so as a dad, if you're trying to figure out who can be your godparent, you want to make sure that they're obviously active in the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
taking their faith seriously, that you think that they're going to be present in your life, so that, and it's not something like, oh well, Dave was my best man at my wedding, so he's going to be my
godparent.
he's going to be my godparent.
Let me ask you this:
Okay.
you're the godparents of a child whose parents are no longer practicing. What do you do?
So I actually am experiencing that right now. Like my very first, I'm experiencing that right now.
Okay. Yeah.
And the only thing that I've asked for counsel on this from priests, and the things that they've told me to do is try to stay active and be sending things that show that my religion is important. Meaning like,
Yeah.
So
It's a tough conversation to have.
So, but it's easy
if you're going to talk
but
about
it's
it with
easy-
the parents.
But it's easy to do because you know their baptism date. So
Right.
every year on their baptism date, send them a card and whatever
yeah,
they
make
like.
sure to write down their baptism date in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, but send
I
them
think
something.
you'd have to the tone of this conversation is very important. But if you sit down with the parents, like maybe don't go over there just for this reason. But if when you're with them, like, hey, one thing that's, I'm the godparent of so and so, and look, it's not my job I'm not here to judge you and like throw rocks at you right now, stones, but my godchild, they're not going to mass, and I took a promise to help raise them, and it's just it's eating at me that I'm not able to do this. Can I pick him up, to take him to mass with with my family on Sunday? Is that okay? Just so it's not, because you run the risk if you damage the relationship between parents, then your relationship with the godchild is gone.
Gone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
Right.
So you need to try. But also if the parents are your friends, you should be concerned for their souls as well. It's difficult.
Right.
Certainly you got to be praying. But I think depending on the relationship, that's something you could do. That would be a big sacrifice for your family to have to go pick up somebody else.
My mom does that. My mom picks up a lady every Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, but think about if you're doing it when you have kids.
that'd be even
we're
tougher.
already running late for mass.
We're running late for next Sunday's mass
Right,
right now.
yeah, exactly.
Currently, we're running late.
The church bell that rings that says like, "Hey, Father's walking down the aisle." It's like sometimes I hear that as we're walking in the door.
It's tough.
Kids, run!
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think we need to take, as godparents, we need to take our role seriously. I think it's great. The men who are joining Exodus 90, that's a great way to start taking it seriously. You're going to be adding a lot of prayer and penances.
So many opportunities.
So many opportunities.
Yeah.
Also, you can just make every time that you pray a rosary, just add for all your godchildren as well.
Name them individually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and then when we're going to continue the conversation.
We're going to talk about blessing godparents.
And we're going
godchildren.
You can hear that on YouTube or Facebook. That's how we went out. YouTube or Facebook. What a lame way to go out. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
I blame you. So
That was my fault. That's why I apologized.
We're back to recording.
Okay, so
Okay.
we just
Okay.
So
Okay.
Here is
Hold on.
Hold on.
here is the baptism.
Yeah.
I do too.
Is this not delicious?
Like
very
I said, in my mouth, it's so good.
Man,
very,
this
very complex.
It's real good.
The
in my
Dalmore. Let me tell you. I've tried the cigar.
Oh yeah, I had that one with you. I think. Yeah.
The Dalmore Cigar Edition. Dude, it is so good, but it's also $140, $150.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to be independently wealthy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
like,
know if I ever will.
It just cannot come fast enough.
They have Dalmore has one that's called the King Alexander III, which is the guy who they saved.
Okay.
But it's like $350, $350. But
that sounds like
I would
2 baby bottles down the road.
I would love, yeah. I thought about this the other day. I thought, I wonder how many more baby bottles we're gonna have. You know, because like we're like, you know, so at first our first thought with the baby bottles were, our first philosophy with the baby bottles were, we buy a really nice one, so let's not drink too much of it because this is a really nice, you know, let's have maybe 1 dram.
Yeah.
Of this because it's really nice and it's expensive. I am moving away from this philosophy.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to know this now before we crack it open.
Because
good.
Because
I'm glad we're deciding, like now instead of like after we're done. It's like, well, can we try it some more?
And I'm not.
I got this much, and
well, So I mean, I was looking at our old bottles, and it was like, you know, maybe this much and this, and so that's like, it's literally, if a bottle is only this much gone, that's like a 2-ounce pour 3 times. You know, that's 6 ounces.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about it. It's like, well, I don't know how many more baby bottles we're gonna have.
Well,
and
look, I'm gonna do my best.
This is gonna be this is supposed to be a joyous occasion. Now, I'm not insinuating we should get drunk or anything like that. I'm just saying, like,
just hilarity.
To a hilarity. Yeah.
To hilarity.
I'm just saying, like, you know, if we're
to hilarity and beyond.
Not beyond. But I'm just saying, like, if we're supposed to sit down and enjoy a whiskey together, we should like enjoy like not just be like, oh, we have one. Like, this would have been a heavy pour. The first time. We had a baby
we'd have been
bottle,
like, whoa, bro.
This is a heavy pour.
Whoa.
And so
to hilarity and no further.
Well, and to be honest, like when you have the second dram, a lot of times, you know, you get a lot of.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you spend your second hour in adoration. You know what I'm saying? Like hour number 2.
That's where you get done
of meditation. That's where it's at. I mean, that's true actually. But,
so anyway, I've changed my philosophy on the baby bottle.
Well, let's go on because we're still recording.
Is it?
We're still recording.
I don't even have my watch. What time is it?
It is
10 o'clock.
10:04.
We're still
we
golden.
have 2 hours. We have 1 hour and 56 minutes.
We're golden. Got plenty of time. Let's talk about blessing though.
Okay, so
because I have thoughts. I have my own thoughts on this.
Okay, so before we expose your thoughts.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about this because this is a question that has come up over and over again.
Come up between us many times, yeah.
Right, and so what I did was I wanted to actually have it for the show because I wanted to have an answer for the show because this is something that was important.
Yeah.
Is can a godfather or mother, godparent, bless like their godchild? Like, do they have the spiritual authority to bless their godchild?
Yes. Yeah.
And I know there's very holy priests that you and I both know that are exorcist priests who have said one thing. I know very holy priests here in the diocese who have asked and have said the opposite. I asked.
Yeah, I too have received yes answers and no answers from priests that I consider to be
very
authorities. You know, some people who would understand the issue,
right?
And so I have competing responses.
I asked 3 priests. We all know them.
Doesn't matter who they are.
Right. I asked 3 priests. I'm not going to, but I asked 3 priests for this episode, and they all punted.
See, that's, but
and
this is the fact that they punt is actually part of my answer. I think there's a reason why that is. It's a difficult question to answer, and my answer to this question, I think, makes sense of that.
Okay, I'll let you go ahead. So,
but I want to make sure you were. I didn't know if you were done.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is for those who don't know, you know, as a dad, you can bless your children, right? And you have the spiritual authority to bless your children, and it's something that God has given you, and you're able to, God has ordained you as the priest of your household to be able to bless your children, and it has nothing to do with like the spiritual disposition that you're in.
Your
Your
holiness.
holiness. It has nothing to do with you, but it has to do with just your office that you hold.
Right.
As
And it's not even because you're the priest, because your wife can bless their children too.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I know that even women are baptized as priest, prophet, and king, but that's not. I don't think that's really at issue here.
No. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, because
but I just want to make sure that people understood. Like, this is what we're talking about. Like, as parents, you're allowed to bless your children.
Yeah.
And so the question is, as godparents, are you allowed to bless your godchildren?
So these are just my own thoughts on the issue. Okay, so
this is not.
They're not authoritative at all. I've thought about this a lot, and ultimately, my opinion is that a godparent's ability to bless their godchildren depends on the natural state of authority that exists between the two. Okay, so if you are a godparent that is not involved in their life, the kid doesn't even know who you are, you hardly know them, whatever efficacy you may have in ability to bless them is going to be very low. Ultimately, though, I think the answer is still yes, because of the fact that you're their godparent. You, at their baptism, took authority in pronouncing the creed on their behalf. Mm-hmm. You are the reason that they received this indelible mark, the gift of faith, by proclaiming the faith when they couldn't proclaim it themselves.
I can't believe I didn't mention that this is the Sunday of the baptism of the Lord,
oh my gosh. I was waiting for you to bring it up.
Well, actually, I blame you.
Yeah, well, because I distracted you.
No, because I went to the Latin Mass this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's the Feast of the Holy Families.
Oh, okay.
On the calendar.
Yeah.
And not the baptism.
So you're blaming me because you went to the Latin Mass.
Yes, because I am holier.
Got it.
You went to the Novus Ordo.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
I think you mean the ordinary form, but that's all right. So godparents do take authority over the godchildren.
Mm-hmm.
What is the level of that authority? Okay, because
that's the question.
Teachers have authority over the children in their class, but that doesn't mean they can bless them.
Right.
They can't give them a blessing.
The blessing. Juan has no idea what
Grace died 10 years ago.
That's a Christmas Vacation.
Chivy.
Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Oh
dude.
Man.
Add to the list.
You have.
Anyway,
leave and go watch it right now.
Anyway,
you can do it next Sunday. Anyway, so ultimately, it comes back to that. I think that, as St. Thomas Aquinas says, grace builds on nature. Okay, so what is the natural state of the relationship? The grace element of the relationship will follow that and will be built upon it. So if there is no natural relationship, there is no supernatural authority. Even though you might have, because once again, you did actually receive some authority. Otherwise, you proclaiming the creed on their behalf would mean nothing. If you don't have authority, then your ability to proclaim the fide is meaningless.
Right.
Okay? And of course, you're doing it along with the parents. But there's a reason why you need a godparent to, well, you actually don't need a godparent to be baptized, but, that's part of the ordinary thing. So, like Juan in South America, the godparents, he's, has told me, and you can chime in here because,
they can hear you.
Yeah, they can hear you. That they play a much stronger role, right?
Yeah. Well, and I would even say more than the godparents, the act of the blessing. Like, it is encouraged.
It's a common thing there.
Before, like, every day before your kids leave to school, it is a tradition that the kids ask the parents for the blessing. It's
right.
Like, hey, Mom, give me the blessing.
Mm.
So, even that of itself, it's more ingrained in the culture.
Mm-hmm.
So when you add the godparents into the mixture, you are building on that culture of blessings.
Yeah. I'll tell you one, the thing that really made this click for me is when you told me that where you come from, parents can spank their children and godparents can spank children. Like, it's common that a godparent could just spank their godchildren. Because that, to me, denoted, there's clearly, well, no wonder they give blessings, because they have and practice a real authority over these children. Okay, so you take a kid, there's a guy in high school, he gets his girlfriend pregnant, he just leaves her, he has no interest in the child. The mother gives the child up for adoption, okay? The adoptive parents are the real fathers. The adoptive dad is the real dad of this child. He can give blessings. His blessing for this child is as a father, okay? And it's not because he, was the author of life for this child, but because he is the father. Mm-hmm. And his authority is no less than any biological dad in the same position.
Just like St. Joseph.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. So grace builds on nature. The natural authority will tell you what is the significance of the spiritual authority. So in as much as you have real authority over your godchildren, are you a part of their life? Do they know who you are? Do they listen to you? If you tell them, hey, you need to do this, will they listen? Because do they recognize you as an authority? Not that if they don't, you can't. Once again, I'm not an expert. I'm not willing to say that a godparent, the weakest godparent in the world, has zero spiritual authority. I'm not willing to say that. I don't know.
Right.
But just what I do see is that if there is a natural authority, then there is a spiritual authority that it would seem to come into play. And I could, once again, be totally wrong about all that. But
yeah, I know add that, ultimately the action of a blessing is seeking to infuse some sort of grace into the children. So when I bless my children, trying to, something that to call to mind the presence of God in their lives. So when you're doing it with your godchildren, you're also trying to call to mind the presence of God in their lives. So you are thereby fulfilling your promise at the baptism.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Juan is also wearing a Be a Saint, What Else Is There Patrick Coffin shirt right now. It's pretty great.
Thanks for the shout out.
You're welcome.
PatrickCoffin.media. So, what are your feedbacks? What are your thoughts on my thoughts?
I think when you were telling me this, I think that they're solid. At least,
okay.
I think that I
think that they're at least logical. That doesn't mean that they're correct.
Yeah.
Because there are assumptions that I'm making that could be wrong.
Yes. And I also think that it also depends on the culture, like you were mentioning. In Colombia, where Juan is from, or Venezuela, but he lived in Colombia and all that. They're whatever.
They used to be similar, and now they're
totally
not.
Different.
Yeah,
socialism.
I can't wait for it to come here. Personally, Venezuela looks awesome.
It obviously depends on the culture, which I think the church in her wisdom has given us the beauty of being able to adapt from culture to culture and giving us, here's the norms, but here's how you're able to utilize incorporate your culture into the Catholic faith. So I think that plays a role.
Yeah.
I think that it's interesting that it depends. You were talking about the father maybe leaving or having nothing to do with them. Mm-hmm. The main stick here is I don't know how the quote unquote office
of father
of the Godfather.
Well, is it an office?
And is it an office?
What does it mean to be an office? And another assumption I'm making is that the godparents are taking authority by pronouncing the faith.
Right.
Maybe that's not even true. Maybe it's the godparents are there as a witness. That's what I'm saying. That's one of the assumptions that my theory is kind of builds on.
Right.
And if that's not true, it doesn't make my whole theory wrong, but it would certainly weaken the case. But I think that it makes sense. Why did all these priests kind of punt on the issue? It's because the church doesn't actually come out definitively and say, it's not that they're punting, but it's that they don't want to say something that the church doesn't say.
Right.
They don't
Which
want
is super virtuous.
Right. They don't want to
actually.
try to speak on her behalf when she has reserved. She could speak on the issue. She hasn't. And so, a priest
That I know of. I haven't done.
Yeah. Well, I've never found anything.
And I asked very informative priests.
I don't think that she has spoken on specifically, and generally,
I'm just covering our tracks.
right?
Here.
Yeah, generally the church doesn't speak on very specific situations like can a godparent bless their godchildren. But I think also it's because it rests on the nature of the relationship, which is different in different cultures. It's different in different people.
I think that would be something like in the Summa where he goes, can a godparent bless their children? And he gives an answer, and then he would follow up that, would that blessing be any efficacious? And that's like a whole separate issue.
Right.
So I think I think in the meaning of that is where it would get.
Right. But all this becomes, okay, so because someone on Facebook just said, well, just bless him anyway. God's not going to, he's not going to be mad for doing that. And, in this case, I think that's true. If you have good intent, and you are a godparent, but you don't want to that's not necessarily good logic. If you say, oh, just offer them a blessing, because maybe we could do a whole episode about this, but when you bless someone, you're taking authority over them, okay? And so if you don't have authority over them, you could actually be doing something immoral. Okay, this is one of the big problems I have with extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion blessing kids when it bugs me. I'm not saying that they're doing something wrong, because they don't know that they're doing something wrong.
Right.
Ultimately, I think they are doing something wrong, actually, but it's not like immoral because they don't know, but just because nobody's told them that this is actually not a good thing for you to do. For you to bless someone is to take authority over them. That's why parents can bless their kids. They have authority over them. That's why I can't offer a blessing, Adam, for you and Juan, because I don't have authority over you.
Thanks be to God.
Right, and it's not like, oh, I don't want to bless you, but it's a humility. Right. I've not been given that authority.
Ultimately, as a godparent, you can pray for them, you can sacrifice for them, you can be a part of their life.
In fact, you really should.
And you should be intentional with all these actions. And if you do that, this is part of the evangelization. This is part of being a part of the community as a you're developing this Catholic culture. We're always talking about, like, how do we take back the culture? Well, okay, we've talked about
have more kids.
Have more kids, and be intentional about your Catholic faith.
Yeah.
And be intentional about community.
And not just that, but have a relationship with the parents of your godchildren.
Yeah.
Because that actually may have a more fundamental effect. I'm not going to say than prayer, but
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yo.
Hey. There's a fire outside, and a cigar that needs to be smoked.
This is the last thing I was going to say, is that,
and a whiskey to be drank.
It's like, it's great to have a relationship with your 3-year-old godchild, but it's probably more effective for you to have a good relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
So that you can be examples for each other, so that you can promote a Catholic culture in the home.
And like, down the road, it's gonna be a huge blessing if you are ever like failing to convey a message with your children that they don't want to hear to you because you're the dad.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So go to Godfather.
So you go to his godfather. It's like, hey, I've been trying to get this message across, but I can't. So
Right.
do you want to give it a try?
I can't
And
wait.
what else? I just thought of this. Juan, you made me think of this. Talk to your kids about their godparents.
Oh yeah.
Update your kids, like, hey, well, your godparents are doing this and this and this.
Right.
And one thing, what I like, Juan,
Do you know your godparents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my aunt and uncle, but they got divorced, so I still know my aunt. Her ex-husband is not really around. But anyway, but like Juan, he actually has his kids, or Santi, call me ahijado, which is Spanish How did I? Was that okay? It was good. Spanish for Godfather, and so I dig that.
Yeah.
Because your kids should know, hey, he's not just another dude. That's your Godfather.
Right.
That's kind of cool, right? Padrino.
I'm gonna love
Santiago
how
is your ahijado.
Oh, I call him ahijado. Yeah.
And
Padrino.
when you become like you are my compadre, and you are my compadre, so it's like a special
friend.
You only use a word when you have
Compadre?
compadre. Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
At least in Venezuela.
Okay, so that's like special friend.
It's gonna be so awesome for people who first tune
We
into
are
the
all
show.
compadres.
Because it's so
And they're
padre.
like, who is this guy talking
This
right
is
now?
like a trinitary.
Co-father.
Like
It's
a
a
trinitary of
co-father.
compadres.
All right. Yeah, they're gonna be like, who is this
All right,
guy
we
that
better
I can't?
get off before the
Yeah.
heresies multiply.
Yeah.
Co-father.
Thank you guys for listening.